Productivity. Productivity of labor is a fundamental issue for all contractors. But why worry about it? How does productivity affect you? Research shows about 25% of all construction costs are field labor.
More important than wages is value. What do we get for the money that we pay each craftsperson? What the expectation is to get quality, skilled, safety, security clear, aware, progressive, creative craftspersons on the job. This is a value proposition and not necessarily a money one. If the value can be perceived as being there for the wages paid, then you got a nice strike, you got a good match. If there's imperceived or less value or lots of loss in productivity, then you have a potential problem.
Labor is usually the largest non-material cost in a job. Union jobs are almost 17% more productive on average than open merit jobs.
But there are a number of studies out there. They've been done by different people, different times, in different ways, and they all indicate that union construction is more productive than non-union.
There's no question that man for man, probably the union electrician makes more money than the non-union electrician, but we believe they make up for that by being more productive out on the job. You can rely on a journeyman electrician to pretty much be able to manage himself. Once he's told what he has to do on that job, you don't have to constantly check back with him and make sure he understands what he's doing and is doing it properly. You can pretty much just let them go on their own and get the job done, and you'll find out they have the skills and the know-how to do it on their own.
Good labor productivity not only reduces costs, it improves schedules and improves quality.
Owners are pleased with the fact that many of these unions are making a commitment to ensure that a qualified workforce is available to meet the industry demands of that individual owner. And both the training curriculum, the safety awareness, leadership, and industry awareness. And that's a good thing.
A union job site is more productive because that is just the way that we train our people to believe that the job has to get done on time so the contractor can make money and move on to another job and keep our people employed. In order for our people to stay working, they have to be productive.
Prevailing wage. Research clearly indicates that employees of signatory contractors are better trained and equally as competitive as open shop contractors. This means that owners are able to make their contractor selections based on the most critical factor: which contractor is best qualified to handle the project in a cost-effective manner. Union workers earn prevailing wage. Does prevailing wage drive up contractor costs? The answer is no.
We were involved indirectly in a study that showed that highway construction in this country, it didn't matter what the wage rates were on a project, it did not affect the cost of the final mile of highway, so that you can use highly skilled union workers, and because they're more productive, you don't run up any extra costs that way. So you end up having same cost, you give a good living to the worker on the project, and society also benefits.
Real savings in public construction costs are more likely to come from investments in worker training, which can make workers more productive, thereby lowering costs without cutting wages.
The advantages I see is that any organization, union or non-union, that has world-class training, state-of-the-art training, that invests in its people, will be the one that has the highest return on the investment.
The union training program has to be considered the crown jewel of the unionized segment. Training is just unmatched compared to what it is anyplace else in the industry. The unionized segment funds construction training more than anybody else, and especially the electrical segment. They've got schools throughout the country. They've got instructors who are trained to be good instructors, and it's the reason that union workers are superior to other construction workers.
A study of school construction costs in Maryland and other mid-Atlantic states found that prevailing wage laws have no measurable impact on costs.
You'll stay competitive because the people you'll get that will be working for you will be able to do the job without a lot of extra help. They know what they're doing. Each individual is trained to do the job. He knows he doesn't have to rely on someone else to tell him how to do the job or someone else to show him how to do the job. each journeyman wireman knows his job. So you'll save money and labor costs.
Findings were taken from independent studies conducted by and for Howard Weil, Ph.D., a senior fellow of the Keystone Research Center and adjunct professor of law at Rutgers University, Camden, New Jersey. The Construction Labor Research Council.
Construction Labor Research Council was set up over 20 years ago to fulfill a need, which was that there's very little in the way of statistical data in the construction industry. People couldn't get the facts on anything. So we became a central clearinghouse for the industry, and we service the other management groups in the industry. But we also do a number of projects that are joint labor management. We do projects that are for major clients of contractors, anything with a statistical nature. And we specialize in labor cost databases and labor supply issues.
The Construction Users Roundtable.
The Construction Users Roundtable, commonly called CURT, is a consortium of owners, about 46 of them, that comprise about $90 billion in construction and maintenance spending annually. So while we're not the largest segment in the construction industry, or the majority of it, we are a significant segment of the construction industry. We're also the successor group of the old Construction Committee of the Business Roundtable. And our mission statement is to improve the cost effectiveness of those who do business in the U.S. construction industry.
Have you ever figured out how much time you spend each year dealing with issues in your business that don't directly contribute to your bottom line? Do you wonder how much productivity you lose in mistakes or slow work by unqualified electricians and technicians? Not to mention the hassles associated with finding electricians through temporary services, the newspaper, the internet, or other resources, only to find that maybe 1 in 10 have the skill level you need to be successful. The time you spend resolving all of these issues causes a loss of your time and ultimately your profitability. Do you want to take that new job but don't think you have the adequate personnel and number or experience? Step up and make it happen. Put yourself in a position to grow your workforce, develop more business, and make more money. You may have considered talking to the Electricians Union IBEW Local 24 in the past. Maybe rumors or misconceptions of union affiliation stopped you from seeing how the union can help. But today is a new day. You can get all of the tools to make a difference in your business today by being associated with one of the most highly respected organizations in your area, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local Union 24. A menu of topics that pertains to you and your business follows this introduction. Tune in and tap into the energy of your future. Now is the time to power up your potential. As you know, it's a business essential in the electrical construction industry to have qualified, highly trained electricians available in a number of different fields. Local 24 recognizes this business essential and holds your key to professional success. In the past, the search for electrical professionals was not as detailed as it is today. Modern-day apprenticeship candidates have a more rigorous set of standards for acceptance, like minimum grade point average, a solid attendance record, and a minimum of disciplinary issues to confirm the best possible employee. IBEW Local 24 and the Maryland National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA, have joined together to produce one of the most modern electrical apprenticeship facilities in the country.
The change of our industry over the last 25 years has been huge, and there's been a commensurate change in our training program to reflect what our customers, because we live and die for our customers. And we have changed our training programs radically to reflect what our customers are demanding. And it's pretty much why we, our input into the system.
Well, by training together, we get input from both the contractors, from the management side, and the union side. There's a curriculum that's already developed for us through our National Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee, but on a local level, we have the ability to modify that and maybe emphasize the things that are more important in our area.
The Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee, JATC of Baltimore, trains members in a state-of-the-art facility with the most efficient training programs and turns out the highest level journeyman electricians around.
Over a period of time, as you interview continually, you can pretty much get a feel for those out there that are going to succeed in the business and those who are not.
I explained to them that the attitude is very important. The type of curriculum that we have is stringent, but it's rewarding. It's based entirely on how much effort you put into the program.
Standards today are more thorough to assure top quality apprentices and stronger experts in the electrical construction field. The Baltimore JATC provides instruction both in the classroom and on job sites for telecommunications installer technicians, inside wiremen, and residential wiremen. The apprentices are trained extensively to be top quality professionals in the electrical construction industry and utilize extensive hands-on state-of-the-art equipment, including training simulators. They also learn safety practices, OSHA standards, and how to conduct themselves on the job and how to promote a positive image of the employer as well as their union.
You can minimize the risk if you think about the safety involved and think about the proper procedures. Because you cut corners, things get sloppy, that's when things get dangerous. If you do things right the first time, you won't have to go back and fix it, which can, if you have to go back and do something that you should have done right the first time, that can cause the job to lose money, can cause the company and contractor to lose money.
Training programs run 3 to 5 years and offer apprentices a free education. The 5-year Journeyman Wireman program consists of 3 years of day school, 1 day every 2 weeks, and 2 years of night school, where apprentices will have the option of choosing their elective classes. For the Voice Data Video or VDV program, apprentices complete a 3-year program spending their days training on the job site and 2 nights a week in the classroom. Apprentices in the 3-year Residential Wireman program train on the job site throughout the program and spend 2 nights a week for 2 years in the classroom. Local 24's apprenticeship program breaks the traditional curriculum by offering day classes. Traditionally, electrical construction apprentices work during the day and attend related classroom training at night. However, the Baltimore JATC is breaking new ground and offering day school to the apprenticeship program attendees. Apprentices are required to attend classroom training 1 day every 2 weeks. Plus, students receive a monetary compensation from the JATC. Local 24 believes in powering up the potential of their members through training and continuing education. Today's IBEW helps you build your business by supplying and training quality, skilled professionals. So get out of the past, understand the present, and build your future. Local 24 commissioned the University of Baltimore to conduct a survey of non-union electrical contractors in the Baltimore area. The goal of the survey was to get a gauge of the market and perceptions of the non-signatory electrical industry in the area. 100 contractors were polled, and the following is what we found. On average, non-union contractors take on 15 employees throughout the year, 4 apprentices. However, more than 30% of those who responded do not have a training program for their employees. More than half of the respondents acquire new electrical employees through newspaper ads or personal referrals. Both endeavors are time-consuming and don't necessarily provide the best, most qualified or well-trained employee pool. Survey findings show that half of the respondents perform telecommunications, voice data, video work. Of those, only 40% have a workforce to support the work they do. Overall findings show that non-union contractors in Baltimore tend to utilize time-consuming methods to acquire new personnel that may not service their needs. Findings implied that non-union contractors in Baltimore do not have the means to properly train their new and existing personnel. Results indicate that contractors in Baltimore do not have the trained personnel they need to service the work that these contractors have or can attempt to acquire. Do any of these findings apply to you? IBEW Local 24 can help. The fact is, Local 24 can help improve your bottom line by giving you access to a vast pool of qualified, trained, and experienced employees, allowing you to get more jobs as well as larger jobs. Local 24 makes contractors' lives easier. We simplify the day-to-day human resource issues, allowing you to focus on what really matters to you, growing your business, and making more money. Contact us today. The IBEW is called the Strikeless Union. As part of the IBEW, Local 24 practices a policy of conflict resolution versus strike. Local 24 works out disagreements and conflicts through the Labor Management Committee, utilizing negotiations and arbitrations. No official, no officer, and no committee can designate to strike, and Local 24 has never gone out on strike in their 40-year history.
Strikes today are a perception, not a reality. Striking in this country and in construction industry in particular, very unusual, rare situations. It just doesn't happen anymore. But it is a problem if you're selling union construction, because the owner is thinking, is my job going to run smoothly? And I want it to run smoothly regardless.
I've tried to work with some construction managers that have never worked with unions before, and that was one of their biggest fears, of going on strike. And we've shown them in the contract and the bylaws and everything else, and explained to them, we have a no strike clause. We cannot go on strike. And that gives them the warm and fuzzies that, okay, that gives me a little bit of more comfort level that we can work with unions. And that's helped us go a long way.
Again, with the IBEW, there's a no strike clause in all our contracts. We don't go on strike. We sit down and we resolve things through our Labor Management Committee, which is a local committee. And if the agreement can't be reached there, then it goes to the Council of Industrial Relations.
If conflicts can't be resolved locally, then both parties turn to the Council of Industrial Relations, CIR. The CIR is a mediation board made up of both National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA, and IBEW representatives.
Now, one of the good things about the IBEW is that we have binding arbitration if, in fact, we can't reach an agreement in those negotiations. That binding arbitration is the Council of Industrial Relations. The Council of Industrial Relations is unique to the IBEW and NECA. If we cannot resolve our differences, whether they be wages, interest bargaining, or grievances at home, and we become deadlocked, then that will be referred to this Council of Industrial Relations.
Council on Industrial Relations, or the CIR, has been around since the 1920s. It's composed of 12 members, 6 representing the IBEW and 6 representing NECA. If the parties locally, Local 24 and the Maryland Chapter NECA, are not able to settle their contract, they would make a presentation to CIR, both oral and written. The CIR members would then evaluate that presentation and would render a decision, and the decision has to be unanimous. All 12 members must agree to it, and the decision is final and binding on Local 24 and NECA.
That arbitration, once that's settled, that's how it stands. So we work under the existing contract until we reach a settlement.
If you're at a contract negotiation and your contractors that are negotiating and your contractor group and the union group comes to a standstill, work is not stopped in the field. There isn't a minute that's lost because of negotiations.
Local 24 works hard to keep the lines of communication open and is constantly working towards the benefit of all members.
If you're a small contractor and you generally only employ 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 guys, and you happen to pick up a job that's a little bit bigger, you can supplement your manpower through us. If you're finishing up a job and you only need, you got to meet your deadline and you only need 3 or 4 guys for a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, we can give them short-term help. So we can pretty much fill any kind of need that they have.
Of your business, if you have clients that could ask you to perform at a moment's notice, where you have to go from 4 employees on the site to 25 immediately in a matter of 24 hours period. The benefit of a union contractor, knowing that the pool of qualified employees is out there, that you can respond accordingly to the client's requests makes that favorable.
Well, going with union electricians, oftentimes you don't always have all the skilled workers in your labor force. If you're not too busy, you have to turn someone back to the union that are out of work. So when you need men, if you need 20 men, boom.
I need X amount of people in these classifications to show up this day, this time, at this location. Okay, he calls me back, I got these people, you know, he gives me the names, and I tell my foreman, here's the names of the people that are gonna be there for you tomorrow. And they show up and we put them to work.
You can pick up the telephone and call anyone with Local 24, and if you have a special need or a special circumstance, you can discuss with people in the office, tell them what you need, and then they do everything they can to supply you with the manpower that you're requesting.
That person, we have a provision in our agreement that you can call supervision out by name. That supersedes anyone that's on the out of work list. That if you know someone and feel comfortable with